Hello children, in today's class we will discuss some important questions from the CBSE practice papers. Okay, I have selected these questions from the 10 CBSE practice papers and these they carries 2 marks. Okay, we will see one by one. How is magnesium, first question, how is magnesium chloride formed by the transfer of electrons? This is one. Why does the solution of magnesium chloride conduct electricity? See here, see children, we know that magnesium, okay, magnesium chloride is formed by the transfer of electrons. See here, magnesium, its atomic number is 12, okay, and its electronic distribution is 2, 8, 2, and here this magnesium is having 2 electrons in its outermost shell, and these electrons can be easily lost by the magnesium. So this magnesium loses these 2 electrons and it will form magnesium cation. Okay, so here this magnesium will lose these 2 electrons which are present in the outermost shell, and these on losing these 2 electrons, this magnesium, neutral magnesium atom is converted into magnesium cation. Okay, now the electronic configuration of this magnesium cation is 2, 8. Okay, it is the stable noble gas electronic configuration of that neon. Okay, now it is stable. This magnesium cation is stable. Next we will see the chlorine. Okay, atomic number of chlorine is 17. Okay, atomic number of chlorine is 17 and electron distribution is like this, 2, 8, 7. Okay, and this is the outermost shell of the chlorine. In outermost shell 7 electrons are present. Okay, so children, it is easy to lose the 1, 2, 3 electrons. Okay, 1, 2, any atom can lose easily 1, 2, 3 electrons. Okay, more than 3, it is somewhat difficult to lose the electrons. But chlorine here it is having 7 electrons in its outermost shell. So it cannot lose these electrons, but it can gain electron easily. So this chlorine will gain 1 electron because in outermost shell 7 electrons are there. It requires one more electron to satisfy the octet rule. Octet rule means, according to this rule, the outermost shell should be filled with 8 electrons. Okay, so by gaining 1 electron, this chlorine will become stable. Okay, this chlorine atom will gain 1 electron and it is converted into anion, chloride anion. So now electronic configuration of this chloride is 2, 8, 8. It is now it is stable. Okay, so like this magnesium loses 2 electrons. Okay, and this chlorine gains 1 electron. Okay, it can gain 1 electron easily rather than losing the electron. Okay, it is very difficult to remove the electron from this outermost shell in case of chlorine, but it's very easy to remove the outermost electron from the magnesium. Okay, so here magnesium loses 2 electrons and 2 chlorine atoms gains 2 electrons and they are converted into chloride anion. Okay, here 2 electrons are released. These released electrons are gained by the chlorine. Okay, so chlorine is converted into chloride anion. Now we will write the electron dot structure. Okay, electron dot structure for magnesium chloride. Okay, this is the magnesium. Nucleus of this magnesium is represented by writing its symbol. Okay, and we are representing the outermost electron by dots. See here, in magnesium, two outermost electron, in magnesium, in outermost shell, two electrons are present. They are represented by dots. So here we have placed two dots. Okay. Next, that one, chlorine. Okay. Nucleus of the chlorine is represented by its symbol, and this chlorine is having 7 electrons in its outermost shell, and these electrons are represented by 7 dots around the chlorine symbol. Okay, this is one chlorine. We will write one more chlorine. Okay, these 7 dots represents the outermost electrons in case of chlorine. Here these 2 dots represents the outermost electron in case of magnesium. Okay, now this magnesium will give one electron to one chlorine and another electron to another chlorine. Okay, like this, these 2 electrons are transferred from magnesium to chlorine. So on transferring these two electrons completely to the chlorine atoms, magnesium chloride is formed. Okay. So this is the first question. Here they have asked one more, that is, why does the solution of magnesium chloride conduct electricity? Because only this, we know the properties of ionic compounds. Ionic compounds, they conduct electricity only in aqueous form, or in solution form, or in molten form. Okay, but they do not conduct electricity in solid state. Okay, see here, this magnesium chloride in aqueous solution, magnesium chloride in aqueous solution, or when this magnesium chloride is dissolved in water, it ionizes into magnesium cation and chloride anion. Okay, it dissociates into ions. Okay, this magnesium chloride is an ionic compound in aqueous solution or in molten state. This magnesium chloride, in this magnesium chloride, magnesium and chlorine, they are present in the form of ions. Magnesium is present in the form of cation and chlorine is present in the form of chloride ion. So these ions are responsible for the conduction of electricity. These are responsible for the conduction of electricity. They are free. Here in aqueous solution or molten state, these ions, magnesium ion and chlorine ions, are free. They can freely move. Okay, here electrical conductivity is due to the movement of these free ions. Therefore, aqueous solution or solution of magnesium chloride conduct electricity. Okay, we'll see next question. While doing an experiment, a student observed that the blue color of the aqueous copper sulfate solution was changed to pale green by immersing a metal rod in it. Name the metal of the rod used by the student. Give the equation in support of your answer. Okay, see here, this is second question. In one test tube, they have taken copper sulfate solution. And inside this test tube, one metal rod is placed. Okay, this is metal rod. In one test tube, copper sulfate solution is taken, and this copper sulfate solution is blue in color. Okay, its color is blue color, and inside this test tube we are placing the metal rod, and this test tube is left undisturbed for around 10 minutes. Okay, around 10 minutes. after 10 minutes, if we observe this test tube, here the blue color of the solution changed into pale green. Okay, the blue color of the solution changed into pale green. Pale green solution. Okay, and again it is a metal rod. So this is what happens when a metal rod is immersed in copper sulfate solution and it is blue in color. After 10 minutes, if we observe, blue color changes into pale green. Okay, in question they have asked that name the metal of the rod. Okay, name the metal of the rod used by the student. Here the metal rod here used is iron. Okay, here the metal rod here used is iron, because iron is more reactive than copper. That's why iron, okay, here it is the iron rod. So iron is solid. When it reacts with the copper sulfate solution, it is a aqueous solution. Okay, when this iron rod reacts with the copper sulfate solution, since this iron is more reactive, it displaces the copper from copper sulfate solution. Here the blue color of the solution, copper sulfate solution, is due to the presence of this copper ion. Okay, when all the copper ions are displaced by iron, we'll get iron sulfate solution, and this copper is separated as solid. Okay, and this blue color is due to the presence of copper ion in copper sulfate solution. When all the copper ions in the copper sulfate solution are displaced by this iron, will get iron sulfate, and this pale green colored solution is due to the presence of this iron ion. Okay, so here this is the balanced chemical equation for the reaction which is taking place here, and the metal rod used here is iron metal rod. Okay, here it is very important. This question is based on reactivity series. This question is based on reactivity series. Okay, here in reactivity series, if you observe the iron, okay, iron is present above the copper. Okay, we know that from top to bottom reactivity, what happens, decreases. Decrease in reactivity. As we move from top to bottom, the reactivity of the metals decreases. In the series, if you see iron, the position of the iron, it is here. Okay, whereas that of position of the copper is here. Okay, copper is present below the iron. Since iron is more reactive, it can displace the copper ions from copper sulfate solution. As a result, the blue color of the copper sulfate solution changes into pale green, and the the balanced chemical equation for this reaction is written here. Okay, here this iron is a solid. Okay, it reacts with the copper sulfate. We have to write the molecular formula of copper sulfate. Since it is solution, inside the bracket we have to write aqueous. So here this iron will displace this copper ion from the copper sulfate. So iron will displace this copper, and this will occupy this place. So instead of in product side, what happens? We'll get the iron sulfate and copper metal. Okay, this is the second question. We'll see next one. Ferrous sulfate solution should not be stored in zinc containers. Why? See here. Zinc container they have mentioned. Zinc container means it is a solid. Okay. Ferrous sulfate, chemical formula, chemical molecular formula of this ferrous sulfate is FeSO4. Okay. Ferrous sulfate solution they have mentioned, so it is aqueous. Children, once again you see the reactivity series. See the position of zinc and the iron. Okay, zinc is here and iron is present below the zinc in reactivity series. Therefore, this zinc is more reactive than the iron. So, whenever we place the ferrous sulfate solution in a zinc container, this zinc ions of the zinc container will displace the iron from the iron sulfate solution. As a result, we'll get zinc sulfate solution and iron rod. Okay, we should not store the iron ferrous sulfate solution in zinc container, because zinc metal is more reactive than the ferrous sulfate solution. Therefore, the zinc react with the ferrous sulfate solution and it displaces the iron from the ferrous sulfate solution and it forms zinc sulfate and iron. Because of this reason, we should not store the ferrous sulfate solution in zinc container. Okay, this question is also based on the reactivity series. We'll see next one. Prachi added dilute HCl to a test tube containing zinc granules. What will be her observation? See here, Prachi is a girl, okay? She took one test tube. In the test tube, she have placed dilute HCl, and to this test tube she is adding zinc granules. Zinc is a metal. Okay, zinc is a metal and dilute HCl is a hydrochloric acid. It is a acid. Here the reaction taking place is between metal and the acid. We know that when metal and acid reacts, we'll get salt and hydrogen gas is released. So see here, metal here used is zinc granules. Zinc metal is used and it is added to the dilute HCl. Okay, it is added to the dilute HCl. So when zinc reacts with the dilute HCl, we'll get the salt, that is zinc chloride. We know the chemical formula of zinc chloride, ZnCl2 plus hydrogen gas is released. Okay, now this equation is not balanced. We have to balance this chemical equation. See here, one zinc, okay, in product side one zinc. Okay, now see hydrogen atoms. In reactant side one hydrogen is there, but in product side two hydrogen atoms are there. So to balance, here we have to multiply by 2. So now here 2 hydrogen, here also 2 hydrogen atoms. Now see the number of chlorine atoms in reactant side. Here 2 chlorine atoms. In product side, here also 2 chlorine atoms. Now this chemical equation is balanced. Okay, when this Prachi, when she add zinc granules to the dilute hydrochloric acid, okay, hydrogen gas is evolved along with the formation of salt, that is zinc salt. Zinc chloride is formed. It is this question is based on the chemical properties of the metals. Okay, metal reaction of metals with acid. We'll see next problem. Fifth one. Children, here 4 test tubes are taken. Here 4 test tubes are taken. Okay, this test tube is named as A and this is named as B. In both the test tubes, now we will place in test tube A, we will place ferrous sulfate solution. In test tube B, we will place copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate, its chemical formula is CuSO4, copper sulfate solution, and its color is blue color. And its color is blue color, and this ferrous sulfate solution color is green color. Is green color. Okay. And in both the test tubes, we will place aluminium metal. Aluminium metal. Okay. We will place aluminium metal. Okay. In we will take one more test tube, two more test tube. This test tube is named as C, and we will take one more test tube. This is named as D. Okay. In test tube C, we are placing aluminum sulfate solution. Aluminum sulfate solution. In test tube D, we will place copper sulfate solution. Its color is blue color, and its this one aluminum sulfate color is colorless. Okay. Now in both the test tubes, we will place iron rod. Okay. A student took 4 test tubes named as A, B, C and D. In test tube A, student took ferrous sulfate solution and it is green in color, and in test tube B, student took copper sulfate solution and it is blue in color. Okay, in both the test tubes, in both A and B test tubes, they have student placed aluminium metal. Okay. In test tube C, student placed aluminum sulfate solution, and in test tube D, copper sulfate solution is placed. Okay, and this copper sulfate solution is blue in color, whereas this aluminum sulfate is colorless. In both the test tubes, iron rods are immersed. Okay, now the question is like this: in which test tube or test tubes will she absorb color change? Okay, in which test tubes, okay, in which test tubes will she absorb color change? ಯಾವ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲರ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. On the basis of this experiment, state which is the most reactive metal and why. ಸೊ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವುದು ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಯಾಕೆ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇನ್ ಒನ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್, again this question is based on reactivity series. Okay, if you see position of aluminium in reactivity series, okay, aluminium is here, okay, and that of iron is here and that of copper is here. Okay, in both test tubes A and B, what happens? aluminum is more reactive than this iron. Okay, aluminum metal is more reactive than iron. Therefore, aluminum metal will displace the iron ions from the iron ferrous sulfate solution. Okay, as soon as all the iron ions are displaced by aluminum ions, this green color of the ferrous sulfate solution changes into colorless. It changes into colorless. Okay, here this aluminum is more reactive than the iron. That's why this aluminum metal will displace the iron metal from the ferrous sulfate solution. As a result, color of the ferrous sulfate solution changes from green color to colorless, because color of the aluminum sulfate is colorless. It is having no color. Okay, it is not having any color. Okay, so here aluminum is more reactive than this iron. Okay, in test tube B, what happens? This copper sulfate solution is placed inside that. Aluminum metal is immersed. Here after some time, this blue color changes into colorless. Okay, this blue color changes into colorless because here also this aluminum is more reactive than the copper. That's why the copper ions in the copper sulfate solution are completely displaced by aluminum ion. As a result, copper sulfate is converted into aluminum sulfate and copper metal. As a result, this blue color of the copper sulfate solution disappears and will get the colorless solution. Okay, among these three metals, when you compare the reactivity of aluminum, iron and copper, aluminum is more reactive than the iron and copper. Okay, aluminum is more reactive than iron and copper. We'll see test tube C and D. In test tube C, we have placed aluminum sulfate solution, and inside this iron rod is immersed. See the position of iron metal and aluminum metal in reactivity series. Aluminum is above. It is present above the iron. Okay. In aluminum sulfate solution, iron rod is immersed. Since this aluminum is more reactive than the iron, here no displacement reaction takes place. Here in this test tube, in test tube C, no reaction. There is no chemical reaction because iron is less reactive than the aluminum. Therefore, iron atoms cannot displace the aluminum from aluminum sulfate solution. Okay. When we move to the test tube D, in test tube D, copper sulfate solution is taken and inside that iron rod is immersed. We know that this iron is present above the copper in reactivity series. Therefore, this iron is more reactive than copper and it will displace the copper atoms from copper sulfate solution. As a result, blue color of the copper sulfate solution changes into pale green. Because here when iron displaces the copper from copper sulfate solution, what happens? Ferrous sulfate solution is obtained. Okay, when iron displaces this copper, will get the ferrous sulfate solution and copper metal. As a result of formation of ferrous sulfate in this test tube, the blue color disappears and pale green color appears, and this pale green color is due to this iron ion present in the ferrous sulfate. Okay, so like this color change is observed in each of the test tubes except the test tube C. And when we compare the reactivity of aluminum, iron, copper, okay, among these three metals, aluminum is more reactive metal because in reactivity series, aluminum is present above the iron and copper. That's why it's more reactive metal. We'll discuss some more problems in next class. And one more thing, children, in this chapter, okay, in metals and non-metals, it's very important that you should study thoroughly physical properties of metals and non-metals. Physical properties of metals and non-metals. In that you should concentrate on the exceptions. Okay, you should concentrate on the exceptions. Okay, exceptional properties are there na. Some of the metals, they are metals and non-metals, they are having exceptional properties. So children, try to remember those exceptional properties because they are very important and they will be asked in the applied form. Okay, so and next one, you should focus on the chemical properties of metals. Chemical properties of metals. Okay, see here, when you see the chemical properties of metals, here metals, when it reacts with the oxygen, it forms only metal oxide. Okay, this is one chemical property. And next, when it reacts with the water and mineral acid, when it reacts with the water and mineral acid, when it reacts with water, hydrogen gas is evolved along with formation of metal oxide. Okay, and when metal react with the mineral acid, hydrogen gas is evolved along with the formation of metal salt. Okay, these two are very important. Sometimes they will ask like this, okay, which gas is evolved when sodium metal is added to the hydrogen, when sodium metal is added to the water. So like this applied questions will be asked. Okay, so it is very important, remember the chemical properties of the metals. Next, reactivity series. Reactivity series. It is also very important based on this concept. Okay, applied level questions will be asked. Already I have discussed here, like that applied questions will be asked sometimes. Okay, they may ask directly what is reactivity series, okay, or what is activity series, like this they will ask, and they will along with this they can also ask, explain the reactivity of metals in the middle of series or at the end of series, like this they may ask. Okay, it's very important, reactivity series. And next comes ionic compounds. Ionic compounds and their properties, they are also very important. Okay, from this concept they may ask how magnesium chloride and sodium chloride, okay, how magnesium chloride and sodium chloride are formed by the complete transfer of electrons. Okay, explain. Like this they can ask, or sometimes they may also ask about their physical, their properties, like conductivity, okay, or melting point, or their hardness. Okay, like this they can ask applied questions. Okay, sometimes they may also ask you to write the electron dot structure of magnesium chloride and sodium chloride. Okay, from this concept almost questions will be asked. It is also very important. Okay, we'll see in next class remaining questions.